What's the cost of a revolution? Welcome to the business interview where we're looking at Tunisia and its economy. It's been 2 years since the former president Ben Ali was ousted. Tunisian unemployment remains higher than before the Arab Spring. There are also warnings that political infighting could weigh the economy down. My guest in the program is Mustafa Kamal Nabli. He's a former World Bank economist and he was the governor of Tunisia's central bank before he was controversially ousted last July. Welcome to the program and thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Now, I want to start with the political risks that seem to be facing Tunisia at the moment. We have seen tensions between Islamists and between secularists within the national unity government. Do you think these tensions are serious?
I think what is serious is the intrusion of violence in the political debate or the political exchange, if you like. That there is tensions between different, groups in terms of ideas, in terms of there's no problem with that. But what we have seen over the last few months is slow intrusion of violence of different types into the political discourse. It starts with verbal violence and then it becomes physical violence. So we have seen violence used to disrupt political meetings of this group, of that group. Mm-hmm. We have seen violence against political parties, burning, offices of this party or that party. Violence against shrines. You have seen, the last couple of days that religious shrines are being burned. All of this and violence against individuals.
Does this also undermine the Tunisian economy?
Absolutely. Because what we need most at this stage for the Tunisian economy is a return of confidence. Returns for investors' confidence, domestic investors and foreign investors. So they feel confident, they can invest, they can make plans and so on. If you see this violence disrupts this confidence. By disrupting confidence, you disrupt the investment process. And therefore, you are endangering the economy.
Now, you had to leave your post as central bank governor in July as lawmakers voted against you.
Yes.
Half a year or so down the line, what's your reading of that? Why did you have to leave?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, I think the government tried to put many reasons for that, but the actual reason was political. It's just exactly that I did not fit into the political landscape of the governing group.
How
team.
so?
Because I was not seen as somebody who can get along politically with them, even though the governor of central bank, and what was wrong, because the governor of central bank, work and mission is not political, is more technical and economical. So there was a confusion, but I think there was lack of understanding of what the role of the central bank was. So there was a mixture of, sense that, can we trust this guy? Mm-hmm. And whether this guy might do something that is against the interest of the ruling coalition.
Do you
so
think
it was mistrust and lack of confidence rather than anything else, which is essentially by essence political.
And do you think that this undermined confidence among international investors? Did they sit up and pay attention to your sacking?
I think they knew. I mean, the government, they knew that this would undermine confidence and they would Holocaust, but they did it anyway. So, and they knew that this was a cost to bear.
Now, it seems, though, nonetheless, that the Tunisian economy has turned a corner somewhat, because we saw the economy almost in free fall in the immediate aftermath of Ben Ali's toppling back in 2011. We saw the economy in recession that year. In 2012, growth did come back somewhat. As I say, it seems as if the Tunisian government has managed to turn a corner when it comes to the economy and economic growth.
You have to, yes and no. Yes, because that's what numbers say. We had a -2% growth in 2011, and then we are going to have, maybe 2.5 to 3% growth in 2012, right? So nominally, that's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you have to understand the numbers really, and that's what people fail to understand. The basic drivers of the negative growth in 2011 were two sectors. The collapse of two sectors. The mining, phosphates, mining and chemicals, because of social disruptions, and the second is tourism. These two sectors, each one of them, the tourism sector declined by 50% and the mining by 60%. These two sectors account for most of the negative growth in 2011. Now, the recovery of these two sectors accounts for most of the growth in 2012. Mm-hmm. Even though the growth of 2012 of these two sectors did not bring these two sectors back to the level of 2010. So really what we are seeing in 2012 is really recovery of some of the loss that we have seen in 2011.
But isn't that at least taking us in the right direction?
It is. There is no doubt about it. It is. However, what you have to keep in mind is that since you do not see, broad-based dynamism of growth through new investment, through new firms, through business to create jobs. So this growth remains non-job creating, if you like, and is not going to help solve the problems that you are facing of joblessness and especially of the highly educated or the university educated youth and so on.
You are painting a very gloomy picture there of the Tunisian economy.
I wouldn't say gloomy. I think I'm seeing that the situation is difficult, and the indicators, many of the indicators, I can go along and talk to you about the financial indicators. I mean, 17% unemployment is high.
But it is still lower than we saw in 2011, for instance,
yes,
in the immediate aftermath of the revolution.
It is.
So there too, things are going in the right direction, at least.
It is, and fortunately. But it is well below what you could expect of a recovery after such a free fall in 2011. One could have expected a growth really to be higher in 2012 and should be higher in 2013.
But what about, why are we seeing this underperformance? What does the government need to do?
Well, the reasons for that, my own assessment, the reasons essentially are fundamentally political. Political because we are stuck in terms of the political transition. We don't have a clear roadmap, and we have gotten into this violence and this turmoil, political violence, which means that confidence has not recovered. Actually, it has worsened compared to the beginning of 2012 or the end of 2011. Business confidence is down. Investors are not really taking decisions to invest. We are not seeing creation of enough businesses and enough jobs and so on. So the political insecurity is really the key problem now. And we have the potential to really catch up and come back very strongly if we do resolve these problems, political problems.
But isn't this kind of political turmoil, isn't it to a certain extent to be expected? In Egypt, we're seeing a similar situation. We're seeing political squabbling weighing on economic growth there. As I say, isn't it to a certain extent to be expected given the circumstances? Very difficult circumstances.
It is. We expected that. There is no doubt what we expected. But I think what we are seeing is worse than what I expected and what we expected and what we have seen in successful experiences of transition. All experiences know that, dip and cost. But what you see, the successful transition have been characterized by a quick return of consensus, building of consensus around the main issues, and going along and have a clear path to transition. In Tunisia, the problem that we have not come back to that way yet. We are not in the consensus mode. We are more in the divisive mode. There is too much division, and we have too much, infighting. We have violence coming back, and therefore we don't have a clear path. And that's what was worrying me. It's not that we had this cost up to now. What worries me is that it might continue, and if it continues, the cost might be infinitely higher.
Now, you're now working, I believe, as an advisor to the secular opposition in Tunisia.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not working.
But what kind of role do you foresee then for yourself in the future?
No, I see myself involved in the political debates, in the economic debates, and I will do whatever I think I can positively contribute to the situation. But I am not an advisor to any political party, or I am not advisor to any to any one of those.
Now, I want to turn the discussion a little bit about what the outside world could do to help out Tunisia in this situation. What can be done from the outside? After the revolution, we saw a lot of countries pledging or making pledges to help out Tunisia and its economy. Is the outside world doing enough?
I mean, we always thought that the outside world was not doing enough, even though there was quite a bit of support last year, 2011, and last year in 2012. In terms of financial support and so on, but it was below what was expected, below what Tunisia expressed in terms of its needs. So support of the outside world is always needed, and I hope it will continue in the future. There is no doubt about it, especially that Tunisia is facing a situation which is really awkward, because while it is going through this transition and this cost, the European economy is going into difficulties, which is not helping. Because one of the reasons that the recovery was not also, there were domestic, I talked about domestic reasons, but one of the reasons 2011, manufacturing sector was really hurt by the negative growth in Europe and the Eurozone crisis. Exports of the main manufacturing sectors, mechanical, electrical, textiles, and so on, was really not going as well and actually declined in 2012. So I hope that by the global economy going back, this helps Tunisia. So by cleaning up the mess in Europe will help Tunisia, I think.
All right. With that message, we're going to have to wrap up this interview. Mustafa Kamal Nabli, thanks very much indeed for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
And with that, we're also going to wrap up the program. Thanks for watching.